Welcome guys to the video, and this is going to cover Black Manta's mix-ups and pressure. Now just to note, Black Manta is technically not a mix-up and pressure character. He's more of a footsie hit and run based character, which is half screen normals and his great ground movement complement a lot. But he does have some form of mix-ups and pressure, but it requires you to condition and make reads on. So getting into Black Manta's mix-ups, his main string that creates a lot of this is back 2-2, and this is a safe low into overhead string, last hit being -6, the first hit being -4. Once you condition your opponent to block this string enough times, you're going to start instinctively going from low to overhead as soon as they see the low. So there's two mix-ups you're able to introduce with that. You're able to do back 2, and occasionally catch them waiting for the overhead part, because back 2 into overhead, the second part comes out a little bit delayed. Another mix-up is when you're doing back 2-2, you can do back 2 ground rocket, and ground rocket, if the opponent happens to block it, is +10 on block, which gives you pressure afterwards. Now if the opponent reads this, they can down to you out of back 2 rocket, but that's why you condition them by ending the string, so they want to block the second part overhead. So you can sneak in a rocket, they'll go up to block thinking the overhead's coming, and then instead you did a rocket, so they'll block that, and that'll leave you +10. And off the +10, you can go for a throw, you can go for a string check, and they try to move, you can combo them. His 4-2-1 string, while it's not as good as the back 2-2 stagger mix-up game, you can occasionally use a rocket at the second part to also implement the same mix-up mon game as the first one. So you could do 4-2-1 rocket, because they're waiting for the last overhead part, and this string, the overhead part's delayed a little bit, so after they block this part, they're going to want to rise up to block the second part. So you can sneak in a rocket there, and then again apply the same strategy of going for either pressure, a throw, or walking back and whiff punishing them pressing a button. Another mix-up, and this one is a little bit harder to do, is when you're using this string back 1-1-3 down 2. When you come down with the overhead and you condition your opponent to want to walk back after this part, what you can start doing is, and this works better in the corner, you can do back 1-1-3 flight and then cross them up and go for a rocket, and if they get hit by the punch over there, you'll get a full combo. Now this works better on some characters than not, and you have to really time the flight over really good to make it work. But this is good if you want to slip in there sometimes while they're, technically holding back to block this over and over. You can sometimes occasionally slip that in and catch them holding back to block the overhead part, but then they get crossed up. So that's good to throw in sometimes. You can also, at the same token, instead of going for a cross-up setup, you can come down with jump 3 cancel and then be plus off that. Now Black Manta also has pressure, and most of it comes from using his trait jetpack and then canceling. And to cancel, you gotta hit the flip stance button, which is this move. As soon as you go in air, you do that. The best strings to apply his jetpack low pressure is off strings that have an overhead that'll make your opponent want to stand up to block. So for example, like we discussed earlier, this string, which sets up a lot, you can start doing back 2-2, and if they think the overhead's coming, what you do is back 2 jetpack land. You can also apply the same tactic to his 2-1 string, going into jetpack where they wait for the overhead and then do pressure. Pretty much almost every character can down to you if they read that you're going to go into jetpack pressure or an overhead into a +10 missile setup. But that's why you have to condition them and get them to respect and just make the read. If you think they're going to sit there and respect the string overhead follow-up, you try to sneak in either a flow cancel or a missile +10 setup. So Black Manta's pressure in their corner is definitely increased by doing this tactic. Just make sure not to abuse it too much and get too predictable in your offense, and to know exactly when to use it when you think your opponent's going to start blocking. Hope this helps some of you looking to improve your offense or mix-up game with Black Manta. And keep in mind, this character is not a mix-up or powerhouse rushdown machine, so you're going to have to do a lot of conditioning and reads to make it work.